This is Nancy Repetto, and this submission is for Module 2. Where one lives can be vastly different from where one works. For Deliverable 2, I chose to compare the suburban environment of where I live in Central Jersey to the urban environment of where I work in Manhattan. Each of these areas are only about an hour apart, however, have significantly different cultures. People in these environments can have vastly different cognitive responses to their visual perception of police. For example, in New York, police struggle to build trust in communities, especially minority communities, whereas in suburban communities, the police enjoy greater respect. These cultural differences are significant, especially if you concur with Franz Boas' theory that culture is more important than race. The visual representation of safety in the urban environment can evoke different responses from viewers, depending on that person's own experiences and memories. If someone had a negative experience with law enforcement, say they were detained and searched, they may cognitively perceive the image as frightening or possibly threatening. Whereas if someone else's experience with law enforcement was positive, say they were helped by police when someone tried to mug them, their emotional engagement will be different. This is because cognitive responses elicit a psychological response to what the viewer is seeing. The visual representation of safety in the suburban environment may engage a positive memory, a link to being a kid, riding a bike, pretending to be a police officer, whereas in an urban environment, one might see the entire setting as a way to project themselves into an environment where there is not distrust or uncertainty. If someone outside of New York is viewing the urban billboard, they might not expect to see a young boy walking with his backpack through the subway, unaccompanied by a parent. The cognitive element of selectivity may be at play where they only focus on this unaccompanied boy. If the suburban safety billboard were viewed in an urban environment, one might experience dissonance due to the image being unrelatable and because there are just too many competing stimulus in the urban environment for one to focus on this unrelatable image. Strategic placement of image is critical to increasing emotional engagement. If the urban billboard were placed at the entrance of the subway in a neighborhood where kids and families entered the system, it could very well be ignored through the cognitive element of habituation, because riding the subway and seeing police in the subway are part of an urban person's everyday habitual activities. However, if this same image were viewed by, say, a young mother who recently moved to the city and whose children will be riding the subway, for her she may experience the cognitive element of salience because the image means something to her specifically. And if that same image had meaningful words about safety, her recall and understanding of the image's message would be enhanced. Gestalt's law of similarity states, visual interest comes from dissimilarity, not similarity. Additionally, what we see when looking at a picture is modified by what we are directed to see or miss by photographers. Hotchberg found through experiments that the eyes are constantly in motion as they scan an image, and that we assign complex meaning to objects we see through semiotics and cognitive theory. In the two billboards, we can see more if we learn more about the image's semiotics. The urban billboard has iconic signs including the police, the boy with the backpack, and the subway station. These iconic signs resemble the thing they are meant to represent. Metonymic code is therefore linked to the indexial signs in this image, which include the patch representing the police, the stare of the officer. Maybe it is not directly at the boy, but instead at something else he wants to watch to ensure the boy is safe. The suburban billboard may cause one to make mental comparisons. Through displace code, if an urban viewer were looking at this image, he might say that the police were taking report for a missing bike since one girl in the image doesn't have a bike. The viewer in this instance has transferred the meaning. The urban billboard may use analogical code to compare the color of the two officers representing diversity of the police department, or condensed codes that show each officer looking in different directions, thus keeping us safe using multiple viewpoints. However, unless one actually had a plaque identifying the condensed code's composite message, the image may be misunderstood, ignored, or interpreted the wrong way. Thank you.